Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, May 12th, 2017. Welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of ORA News, where we bring you today's top stories, translated into English, every weeknight. The letter the EU Commissioner, Johannes Hahn, addressed to Albanian citizens yesterday has received support from members of European Parliament MEPS Fleckenstein and Kukan. Mr. Fleckenstein, who together with David McAllister negotiated and served as mediator between the parties to help them reach consensus, wrote on Twitter today, "I support this message to Albanian people. Also, after my talks in USA, all sad about the situation. Responsibility is also clear." Earlier, the member of European Parliament Kukan tweeted that he fully supports the letter that Commissioner Hahn addressed to the Albanian people, writing, "Fully supporting Johannes Hahn and his statement to the Albanian citizens." Yesterday, the European Commissioner for Enlargement, Johannes Hahn, issued a statement for all Albanian citizens, expressing his regret for the situation and harshly condemning the calls to hamper the citizens' right to vote. Mr. Hahn stressed that the European representatives made all their efforts to promote dialogue between the parties, and that the Democratic Party deliberately chose not to participate in elections. Mr. Hahn clearly stated that the leaders will be held accountable if they try to derail the legitimate aspirations of Albanian people for a better future. At the end of the letter, Mr. Hahn emphasized that the EU will closely follow and monitor the electoral process and will continue supporting Albania's path towards EU membership. A day before the opposition's protest, the OSCE has issued an appeal for a peaceful protest. The OSCE presence in Albania writes on Twitter, "The right to gather in a peaceful way is one of the foundations of democracy. There is no space for violence in the Albania of 2017. Meanwhile, yesterday the OSCE ambassador to our country, as well as the EU and US ambassadors, held a meeting with the Minister of Interior. The meeting of the ambassadors with the Minister of Interior lasted around 30 minutes. The focus of the meeting is thought to be the political situation and the opposition's protest on May 13th. Recently, the internationals are highly engaged finding a solution for the political impasse. Democratic Party Chairman Lulzim Basha invited all the citizens to participate in tomorrow's opposition protest, declaring that tomorrow starts the journey for the foundation of what he calls the new republic. Speaking from the protesters' tent, the DP chairman said that the massive protest will decide the fate of the protesters' tent, whether it will continue to stay open or will be closed in order to follow another strategy for the opposition's actions. The DP chairman considers May 13th to be the end of the 3-month resistance and the beginning of the journey to establish the new republic, declaring, "Tomorrow, our resistance will inaugurate the new republic. Tomorrow starts the journey of the union of hope every honest citizen, of the biggest decision to remove the old republic of corruption and dirty bargains and to establish the republic of Albanian citizens. Tomorrow will enter into history because it will be the day of the biggest union ever heard in years and decades." The DP chairman added that he will not give up from the citizens' request. The DP chairman said that the citizens all around Albania will join the protest tomorrow, including retirees, students, former owners, unemployed, businessmen, and people who are disappointed by the government which has lied and abandoned them. After 84 days of protesting outside the Prime Minister's office, the opposition has called a massive protest tomorrow at midday at the boulevard before the Prime Minister's office. The massive protest is an escalation of the opposition's stance, and it comes after the failure of the opposition's protest in Kavaya, and when the majority has decided to enter in the parliament elections alone, without accepting the establishment of a provisional government the Democratic Party and its allies have been requesting for 12 weeks. The Democrat MPs, chairman of DP branches, and the party structures are all engaged for tomorrow's protest. It has been learned that the DP chairman has guided the party structures that tomorrow's protest should have a higher participation than that of February 18th, when the opposition decided to set up the tent outside the Prime Minister's office. The Democratic Party's youth forum is engaged all around the country. They are knocking on citizens' doors, inviting them to join tomorrow's protest. Considering the scenario, tomorrow's protest will be similar to that of February 18th. The citizens will gather around 11:30 at the square between the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Agriculture. The opposition's leader, accompanied by young people, will march from the Democratic Party's headquarters to the Jeanne d'Arc Boulevard in order to join the protesters in the main boulevard outside Daiti Hotel, and altogether they will head towards the square outside the Prime Minister's office. Citizens will speak about their problems in a podium that will be set up before the protesters' tent. The last political messages will be given by the DP chairman, who will also announce how the protest will continue. Vice Prime Minister Nikhil commented today on the opposition's protest, declaring that the protest is a democratic right as long as it is developed within the constitutional norms. The Vice Prime Minister said that he does not understand what the DP chairman means with the new republic, declaring, "Protest is a constitutional right that the opposition can use, but with the conditional norms. I do not know what Basha means by the term new republic, but I should say that a new program or a new approach comes if it is voted by the people. Elections are the only means through which a political party can come into power. A new republic cannot emerge from civil disobedience." The Vice Prime Minister called on the citizens not to allow the sacrifice of 27 years of fight for democracy, saying, "I want to send a message to all Albanian people. We should not sacrifice now that Albania, the region, and Europe are in a delicate moment because of the developments of the region. We should be responsible and careful with the messages we give to people." Vice PM Pileggi also added that the elections will be held without the opposition, stating, "We are sorry we are going into June 18th elections without the opposition, but the absence of the opposition does not stop us from asking for the citizens' vote. June 18th was decreed by the President and in respect of the constitutional framework." The Vice Prime Minister also said that the European partners have encouraged the political parties to participate in the elections, putting democracy over any party scenario. The chairman of Socialist Movement for Integration, Petri Vasili, has expressed his conviction that the Socialist Movement for Integration will emerge the first force in the elections. During a meeting with the residents of Administrative Unit Number 7 in Tehran, the SMI chairman declared that the youth has proved it can do great things and that they can give Albania a new pace, stating, "Albania is in a moment when it needs a big boost. It needs a new pace with which can be given by the youth. Young people have proved they are capable of making great things, and we have put so much trust in them. The Socialist Movement for Integration is the first political force, and Albania needs it. We cannot deprive this good to the SMI and Albania. Altogether, we can make this a reality, and we are convinced we can achieve this." The former SMI chairman Ilir Meta and SMI MPs Klayda Gjosha, Kedi Mehmetai, and Luan Rama were also at the meeting. The first on the list of Socialist Movement for Integration MPs in Tehran, Klayda Gjosha, said that the citizens are tired of political conflicts and that they need a political force such as the Socialist Movement for Integration in order to feel safe for their future. Religious communities in Albania today have expressed their concern regarding the political impasse created in the country. Through a joint statement, the religious communities emphasize their concern for the failure of political dialogue and of the will to communicate for the resolution of the impasse, especially for the elections issue. Driven by the situation, the religious communities invite the political parties, the majority, and opposition parties to communicate, to settle down the violent rhetoric, inviting the parties to build bridges instead of walls. The statement reads, "Sincere dialogue of all levels, including many stakeholders, is needed. You have many responsibilities before people, and you should think of them. Your major political aim is the good of the people. You should guarantee a transparent and comprehensive pre-electoral and electoral process. We call on Albanian citizens not to sell their votes." This is the first reaction of religious communities after the political impasse that has been ongoing for the last 3 months. According to the communities, giving messages for dialogue and cooperation would help the citizens and the country's aspirations for the EU integration. Expressing their conviction that the statement will help solve the crisis, the religious communities conclude their statement, saying that they will continue to pray for the future and well-being of Albania. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Cosmo K, and on behalf of our news, thank you and good night.